Kevin, I feel like I'm following you around from party to party. We were in Vancouver at Mr. Porter's house party, and now we're in Toronto at his house party. He's got a lot of houses. So, what are we doing here this evening? Why Toronto?
Well, we of course did throw a party in Vancouver in July, and what we were doing there was introducing Porter to that local market, right? So the West Coast didn't know Porter yet, and we were using this as a platform, this very branded, immersive experience to educate the local market what the Porter experience was all about. But now we're in Toronto, and it's a different story here. Toronto knows Porter. What they know well about Porter is Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport and what we created there. The convenience of that airport, the service experience that they have. And so now we want to make sure that we educate Toronto that we are also at Toronto Pearson. And through Toronto Pearson, we have introduced a new aircraft type, which of course is the Embraer 1995 E2. And with that also comes an expansion of the product offering that people know about us. So, like we did in Vancouver, an immersive experience, Mr. Porter's house, where our guests are coming and seeing all of the parts of the Porter experience, but we're also highlighting, as you might see on the other side of the wall, a beautiful map of the destinations we're flying to already from Toronto, including Toronto Pearson, and the destinations that we have intended in the very short term. So that's what we're doing here in Toronto.
I have so many questions. I don't even know where to begin. First of all, can you really tell me that there are people in Toronto who don't know that Porter is now flying jets out of Pearson Airport?
Well, I can tell you that. Keep in mind it's a city of 7 million people, and those who are located close to the downtown core know and understand Billy Bishop, but there are a lot of people who live in Toronto where Billy Bishop wasn't a convenient airport for them. And so when they looked at their options out of Pearson, Porter never presented itself. Well, now it is. So there's a large part of the catchment area of Toronto that will now get to know Porter through Pearson Airport.
I have to tell the people who aren't here, this whole setup and the one that we filmed in Vancouver is brilliant. Like, it's really creative. You really do get an experience of the Porter product, the food, the drinks, the mixed drinks, the service, etc. Those little shots of ginger, which you probably don't know about, but they'll put tears in your eyes. And so it's very creative. And my experience with Porter as an airline, as a product, whether it's the pillbox hats, whether it's the serving of wine on the planes, no middle seat, all of that reflects that creativity. So it's a business creativity, which I find fascinating. And I asked you in July, how is business going? Because there's really not an article lately that's printed in any newspaper in Canada about airlines that doesn't make a special mention of what Porter is doing. It's aggressive, it's brilliant, you've ordered a lot of planes. I want to know about the business angle.
Well, when we saw each other in July, I told you that the West Coast, which was brand new at the time, it was probably 4 or 5 months old, I told you that we were seeing really great demand for the summer. But that is demand of Canada. So I mentioned at the time that the question for us was, what happens in the fall? Well, we're now midway through November and we can see fall. We can also see the winter period. And we're really excited by what we're seeing. We're setting revenue records on the West Coast markets, which are our most mature markets. In September and October, we ran 70 and 80% load factors. We're really pleased with that in our first year of operation outside of that summer peak. The other key thing for us is when we talked in July, I talked about we were very strong in the leisure segment of the market at that time. And we really wanted to see the markets mature and start to expand into that business traffic, which we are well known for in Eastern Canada. We're pleased now that we are about 8 months into those markets in the West Coast, and business traffic is already 35% of the revenue for us. While that is certainly lower than the traditional East Coast markets, we believe that getting to 35% in just 8 to 9 months on business traffic shows that people are trying the product, but those business travelers are seeing the value and they're booking us. So I'm really pleased to see that those markets are maturing. There's also, of course, the fact that beyond the West Coast market, which is what we were focused on when we last met, we've now introduced 5 markets in Florida, 2 of which are also being served out of Ottawa. We've introduced LA, San Francisco, and Vegas. Those are actually going to start next year. And so all of those are now starting to mature. We're seeing great demand for the initial response on Florida. Of course we are at Christmas, of course we are at the spring break period, and we're working really hard to fill in all of that travel period. It's early days for us on that, so when we chat next time, why don't we perhaps talk about what happened to Florida? But we're very excited about those sun and leisure destinations that we're now adding to the map.
So would you say when this plan was mapped out however many years ago on a whiteboard with goals set, are you meeting those goals?
Well, of course you always lay out a 5-year business plan and then you see how the reality hits, right? And reality is, in this case, the fact that we have to acquire slots at Toronto Pearson Airport. So of course that is part of the rollout of the jet product. But we're not solely reliant on Toronto Pearson. We're talking about that here in Toronto, but you also know we're expanding out of Ottawa. We've introduced 10 new destinations out of Ottawa this year alone, some on the Dash 8, some on the E195. You're going to start to see us introduce more jets out of other markets in the East as well. So, you can lay out the perfect blueprint and you can say, well, we're going to acquire slots or roll markets out in certain ways, but then there's the reality of how it goes. So is it rolling out exactly as we expected? No, but we're concentrating our focus on building out Eastern Canada. That was always the plan.
So Kevin, what is next in 2024? You've done so much in 1 year. I would think you can take a break, but that never happens in the airline industry.
Oh no, we've got a lot of aircraft to go. We're at aircraft 23 right now. We'll be at 29 by December, and we'll be at 50 by the end of next year. So there's no resting here at Porter. So 2023 for us was about launching the product into the market, making it clear that we are setting out to challenge the definition of economy air travel. I think we've done a great job of that, certainly with the product and how it's being received. As we now move into 2024, it's focusing on that other element of the product, which is the network. Network is also critical to the product strategy. It's critical to attracting the business traveler. So, building out frequencies out of Pearson into those existing markets to the to the west. It's about building out the US from Toronto Pearson. It's about adding more from Ottawa. You're going to see us start to add flights out of Montreal. We have ideas around Halifax. So network is the story you're going to start to see in 2024. We've built our trunk now, is the way we phrase it internally. We built the trunk. We're now going to start to build the branches of the network. You're also going to see us be very aggressive in 24 about airline partnerships. They're not new to us. We have airline partners today, but you're going to see us expand that. We're getting very strategic around airline partnerships because, as you know, you cannot have a network like we're trying to do today and not also then try to expand beyond that through alliances and code shares. You'll see that in 24 as well.
I'm so happy for you, honest to God. I mean, I know I probably say this every time that I was there when it all started, and there were questions about whether or not it could succeed, the whole concept, the island, etc. And my God, have your wings ever spread? And it's just heartening to see an airline succeed, and not only succeed, but prosper and do well and grow, because we need that in this country.
Well, what I really love about what we're doing, people can just kind of say these things, but at Porter it's true. We built this product around the customer and the traveler. When you walk around this room today, you're going to see that, because you're going to see an element of a product that does not exist in Canada, let alone North America, and the customers are responding to it. We talked about our Net Promoter Score and our customer satisfaction score when we were together in July. October, we just set a brand new record. Net Promoter Score, 73. Customer satisfaction score, 93. Please tell me anyone else in this industry that has economy travelers walking off the aircraft with a 93% customer satisfaction score. If we continue to focus on the customer, we're going to win the market share, we're going to grow this network, we're going to win, and I'm confident in that. So we'll look forward to chatting again soon.
Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you very much.